Hello and welcome. Being a highly accurate, unpredictable and the world's fastest supersonic cruise missile would be a laurel enough for most to rest easy on. Not so, of course, if you're talking about the Indo-Russian construct, the BrahMos program. Having achieved what would be the envy of any other nation, Team BRAHMOS recently strapped a 2.5-ton missile in the underbelly of a Sukhoi 30 MKI jet and ensured that it fired accurately at a target located nearly 260 kilometers away. Having achieved this, India can now fire the BrahMos missile from land, from water and of course from the air. So what is it that propels Team BRAHMOS? Who are the people who ensure success after success for India in a field that is highly complicated? In a recent and rare gesture, I was granted the special permission to interact and shoot with Team BRAHMOS behind the big gates that guard what truly is a unique jewel in India's crown. You've perhaps seen it at displays, you've perhaps heard about it, for it is a one-of-its-kind weapon, definitely the fastest that India has and perhaps the fastest world has ever seen. We're speaking about the BrahMos missile system which defends India whether at land, at sea or in the air, and this is the story of what you never see, of what you never hear when you see the BrahMos. And to tell the story, we went to Hyderabad, a city which is at the heart of India's missile and research development effort through the premier institute DRDL. Inside the DRDL's perimeter is the BrahMos integration complex. 300 men and women are at work at what undeniably is the largest state-of-the-art facility which propels this world-class missile. Before your eyes is the outcome of years of coordination and mutual trust between India and Russia. It also is the outcome of some violent, some controversial rumblings which shook the world 26 years ago.
Should military action be required, this will not be another Vietnam.
(1991) was the year and January 16th the day.
5 months ago, Saddam Hussein started this cruel war against Kuwait. Tonight, the battle has been joined.
When the 45-day period for Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein to withdraw from Kuwait ended, UN Security Council Resolution 678 came into play, with which began the first televised war the world had seen.
Hold on! Go on! Right, go!
Among the many lessons the war imparted, this one in particular left an indelible mark on the minds of Indian planners: the Tomahawk cruise missiles. The unsettling nature of high-speed precision strikes at predetermined targets using an unpredictable trajectory was visible on the enemy. For India, acquiring such a capability held immense promise.
Prithvi was under development. Nag missile was also, the anti-tank was also in the making. The air defense, Akash, was also under development. Agni was not even on the horizon at that point of time. It was only on the drawing board stage. So we were doing reasonably well. But when Desert Storm took place in 91-92, thereafter we realized the importance of cruise missile, and thereafter In addition to whatever was being done as part of the missile program, we started working on the cruise missiles.
Before the year ended, the world lost a superpower and India a friend. On Christmas Day in 1991 in Moscow, the communist flag was lowered for the last time. In the process of opening up, the mighty Soviet Union in its 75th year disappeared. Left behind were 15 nations, among which most, if not all, were in a state of economic disarray. Russia, though not an exception, still had access to the prime Soviet military hardware as well as software. In 1993, sensing an opportunity for old partners to leverage each other's position, 61-year-old Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the then scientific advisor to the defense minister and the head of DRDO, took off to meet his Russian counterpart, Dr. Herbert Yefremov from the NPOM research and development body. Negotiations for 5 years saw Russia and India signing the dotted line to then create the world's only supersonic missile. BrahMos was born. Since the time it was first tested in 2001, the missile has undergone over 50 flight tests in which it has demonstrated a range of up to 290 kilometers and a speed of up to 2.8 times the speed of sound, which translates to covering nearly 1 kilometer every second. You heard that right. Not surprisingly, the Indian Navy, which was the first customer of the original anti-ship version of the BrahMos way back in 2005, has decided to arm every major warship with the system. The army, which has already inducted 3 missile regiments into its artillery arm, looks invested in the project for the long term. The appetite displayed by the Indian Armed Forces has been so immense that this facility in Hyderabad has its hands full till 2025 already. And yet there is hunger for more.
As on date, we have got 2 production lines. We wanted to enhance it to the 3 production lines. Over a period of time, we are planning to take additional load, like we are wanted to do the export order execution. We are looking for the export order. We are geared up for the executing the export order. Other than that, we have got facilities wherein we can give the support to the upcoming missile project like Nirbhay. It can be Astra, it can be any DRDO project. Nowhere in the other industry you will be able to find this type of skilled manpower which is available with BrahMos.
In a system marked by delays and bureaucratic inaction, what is it that makes BrahMos a success? We walked around the 40-acre facility to interact with different stakeholders to get answers. What struck us first was the presence of young engineers and integrators on the floor.
Okay, D5.
23-year-old KARTHIK Venkatesan has been associated with the BrahMos project since over a year. A BTech by qualification, he told us he had multiple offers and that he opted to be here.
But this is something you don't get to see, and it's really exciting that you get to work on such technologies, and the effects that this is having. This is basically going to the armed forces, and you're helping defend your nation. So it's that feeling also which is the motivation for working here. If you talk to anybody from the armed forces, they tell you that BrahMos is one of their more reliable missiles, because you get some missiles which work sometimes, which don't work sometimes, but the feedback that we get from the users is that BrahMos is their go-to missile. You know, people look at this as the pedestal of technology. So when you tell them that you work here, they look at you differently. They're like, oh my God, you actually work here. That is like, that's so cool, you know.
For Jyoti Singh, who is a systems engineer as well as a safety officer who signed up almost 2 years ago, this was as much an opportunity to help the country's cause as it was to test her professional acumen.
My brother is in army. He's a captain right now. Okay. He's serving for the UN forces in Congo. When they tell about their experiences, the places that they go, the kind of work they do, it's a very, very amazing thing to listen to. So to be a part of that experience and contribute technically to that, that becomes a very proud thing. The people who come here, the Russians, specialists who come here and work with us, they share all their technical knowledge. And the people we meet here, you see like each and every batch is selected from all over India. We come from the different parts of India. So it's a cultural mix of people.
Jyoti's observations aren't just a matter of chance. There is, as we learnt it from the man at the helm of the missile program, a deliberate pattern at work.
I learnt that Mumbai could come up because of the diversity. I could understand that why Delhi is coming up economically, because the people, best people from all over the country, they are coming and working here. I observed the same thing about New York, London, Hong Kong, Singapore, Dubai. Then I thought, why not emulate it in the BRAHMOS? And I decided that we will recruit only from NITs, and NIT, right from NIT Calicut to Srinagar, this side, Assam se lekar up to the Maharashtra. We go to all the NITs and we recruit few people, 1 or 2 or 3, but we recruit the best.
Our next stop was the office of Admiral N.N. Kumar. As the executive director in charge of production, the Admiral was best suited to offer an assessment of the systemic factors that make his team stand apart.
The reason that it is a success is because the understanding at the highest level, the amount of technology transfer has not happened in any other project as it has happened over here. Then we have some amount of flexibility of being able to choose the vendors, though of course not deviating from the financial regulations.
To achieve all that the BrahMos missile is famous for isn't easy. In fact, it invites a lot of stress. But before it can take that stress in the air, it has to take that stress here on the ground, and that's where what I call the BrahMos torture chambers come in.
One bolt not tightened is enough to bring this missile down, and thus the team here is obsessed with quality and rigidity of standards. Every component, whether sourced from the government or private players, undergoes an evaluation at least 20 times. Every electronic spare, given the kind of performance expected from the missile, is made to undergo over 1 lakh pumps. Stress screening, the engineers here told us, involves exposing missile parts to temperatures ranging from 200 degrees Celsius to minus 50 degrees Celsius. For AKULA Harish, the senior systems engineer here, and his team, there is a well-defined objective to achieve.
The critical components of the missile, like electronics or the mechanical components, very high pressure valves and other things, they don't fail during the flight. Better they fail on the table at ground instead at flight. We make sure that a faulty component doesn't get inside the missile.
When compared in the global bazaar, the BrahMos may not offer the extended ranges that the Tomahawk, for example, does, but in terms of speed, nothing from countries like China, Pakistan, or even US for that matter, comes close. Those in the know say that now, with India becoming a member, a signatory of the MTCR, BrahMos will definitely see an extension of its range. But that is hardly a laurel the team wants to rest upon. They, in fact, are literally setting their eyes for matters much higher. Final touches are now being given to an unprecedented plan. The attempt is to create a weapon platform like no other by marrying the 2.5-ton BrahMos missile to the heavy bomber Sukhoi 30 MKI.
I will not say married. In the marriage, you have a chance of divorce also. But in this missile, we don't have chance of any divorce. It can cause threat up to, I will not say up to, more than 5,000 kilometers. We have cut the aircraft into two portions, strengthened it, again brought it together. We have done the testing of the aircraft, and we found that aircraft is as good as a new aircraft. Secondly, we have designed, developed, realized the world's biggest launcher for this aircraft, for fighter aircraft. And we have come out with a missile which is much lighter in the weight. It's about 2.4 ton, 2,400 kilograms. Still, it's the world's biggest, heaviest missile to be integrated into any fighter aircraft. We have successfully integrated the missile to launcher, launcher to aircraft. So, electrical, mechanical integration is complete. The Indian Air Force would become the only Air Force in the world, only in the capital, only Air Force in the world which will be able to go beyond 5,000 kilometers and create a sense of well-being to our aerospace.
The Air Force, excited as it is, has offered to provide 40 Sukhoi 30 MKI aircraft, that is more than 2 squadrons for this modification, if the BrahMos team can prove themselves. The CEO, Dr. Mishra, tells us that even Russians are observing this evolution very closely and may just choose to emulate India if successful. Having created a niche which remains unbeatable, the obvious question is what next? Seen from the armed forces perspective, there is a lot. A smaller version of BrahMos will help them integrate better with submarines and even fighter planes. Quicker missiles will help it become much more lethal. Team BRAHMOS, Dr. Mishra tells us, is already on the job. He went a step further, in fact.
India has joined MTCR. Now we are able to fully exploit the capabilities of BrahMos missile. We can go to any range. We are working on a new business model. In this business model, we feel that we can come out with a entirely new generation of missile which we can use only for export, which may have a shorter range and which can be produced in numbers at much lower cost.
While the missile indeed has a bright future, there are still few aspects that take the shine off, howsoever little. For one, Russia continues to supply the most critical parts, including the engine, the booster and the seeker. India has not been able to make much headway in indigenization of these aspects. Another question often asked is why a missile this good is not being inducted by the Russian side into their armed forces. The answers clearly aren't available easily. However, there is no dampening of enthusiasm. If anything, the workforce seems eager to take the challenge head-on. BrahMos, after all, has gone a step beyond offering India merely a type of capability. It has offered a template to base future partnerships on.
If you can come up with a supersonic missile with the help of Russian, like a joint venture like this, then I feel my dream would be to come up with more such joint ventures, not only restricted to the aerospace industry or the defense industry.
It has offered a sense of confidence.
पहले ऐसा लगता था कि मिसाइल ऊपर जाती है, फिर मुड़ती कैसे है, फिर कैसे आगे जाती है. अब इस समय चीज़ों को मैं दूसरे नज़रिए से देखूंगा, क्योंकि मैंने उस चीज़ों पर काम किया है, तो मुझे लगेगा कि क्या क्या चीज़ उसके अंदर कैसे चल रहा है और वो कैसे आगे जा रहा है. तो एक नज़रिया अलग होगा, लेकिन खुशी वही रहेगी.
A sense of self-belief.
And Jawans, they come here, they show interest, and when they do that one, I feel very happy that people who are actually protecting our country from the borders are coming and learning from us.
A sense of purpose.
We are now part of the MTCR, and subsequent to that, our first aim is to extend the range of the missile with whatever effort is required, right? And thereafter, to try and continuously indigenize as much as possible.
A sense of contentment.
As a user, I was the director that time, a colonel rank, and we used to go with number of issues. We used to tell him that this is not all right, this is not all right, this has not been done, this part needs more deliberations and all. And the scientist from his side, from the DRDO side, used to start justifying it. And I must say hats off to this great scientist who will immediately tell them to shut up, and he'll say the user is the boss. Whatever he is saying, we have to do it. We cannot start justifying that this cannot be done or this. If he wants it, we are here to do it for him.
And a sense of ambition.
People always say that, you know, I visited the Ganges and I took a dip, holy dip. I think that when we do a flight trial, we get the same kind of a feeling when we do the trial, and when the system gets approved for induction, is the ultimate feeling. Today we have never faltered in terms of our delivery to the user, and we hope we not only on time but we deliver it before time.
So there you saw the people, the processes and the fruit of their labor, the BrahMos missile. As we now leave you, a few thoughts. Has India been able to build leverages among friends and allies using the BrahMos as a stepping stone to deter her adversaries? Has India been able to truly absorb and utilize the capabilities that a missile like BrahMos offers to ensure that she can influence and arrive at the outcome that she desires? And finally, by what means and how much has India's scientific base grown from its participation in the BrahMos program? Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.